Today's question, which is a better exercise for your glutes overall, the hip thrust or the back squat? So the hip thrust became very popular in the last decade or so. And for those of you who don't know, the hip thrust is where you have your back on a bench or on a surface and you have your barbell or a weight or something for resistance across your hips, and you thrust your hips up, thus the name hip thrust, and squeeze your glutes. And it's been very popularized on Instagram, and different coaches use it to develop the glutes. And because it mainly worked the glutes, people thought that it was a better exercise than squats for the glutes. Now, some people generally can feel squats, the back squats, in three different places. They can feel it in their glutes primarily, their quads primarily, their thighs, and balance in between. So there was a study out, I think last year it came out, or the year before, that compared the glute activation, or basically how hard the hip thrust and the squat works your glutes, and they found that actually the back squat works your glutes a bit more. So technically, I suppose you could say the back squat's better for your glutes, but there is a huge caveat to that. The back squat is a very technical movement, especially as the weights get heavier, and if you're trying to hypertrophy your glutes, so put muscle on your glutes, means that you're going to fatigue. And back squats, because they're so technical, fatigue is not what you want when you're doing them, especially if it's hypertrophy on the glutes. So some people might not have the mobility required for squatting, some people might hate squatting, and some people, technique might fail them when they're squatting. So the hip thrust for many people is a safer and easier method of loading up the glutes for them if they find the hip thrust position comfortable. So at the end of the day, they both work your glutes. If I had to pick between one or the other, personally, I'd pick the back squat because I prefer the back squat over hip thrust. But that's a personal preference. But if you were, were agnostic towards both, you didn't mind either doing whichever, do the one you prefer personally, or you feel mostly in your glutes. I feel squats in my glutes, so I don't do hip thrusts. But if you struggle to feel squats in your glutes when you do squats, then maybe you should try the hip thrust and see how you get on there. But in general, squats will do just as much glute development work as the hip thrust. But the hip thrust is a less technical movement, so it's easier to, once people have the technique mastered, it's much easier to load weight onto it, still maintain good technique, and focus on your glutes. So it's kind of splitting hairs which one you prefer. Pick which one you prefer, which doesn't cause you pain, and you'll get results. But if I had to pick one, I would say squats are probably better in general. All right, guys, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments below. And as always, I hope you have a good day, and we'll talk to you later. Cheers.